You sit. No, I'm
Stories to
standing.
Share. My name is Sean Driscoll. I'm on the board here at the Civic Center, and I'll act as moderator tonight. Tonight is the 5th talk in the 5th season of Stories to Share. The Civic Center is able to put on this program because of the generosity of individual donors to the Civic Center, and because we have 3 sponsors for this series. They are the Monadnock Ledger Transcript, the Savings Bank of Walpole, and Beltates. So if we could give a round of applause. We have a new thing that we're trying out the last 2, which is that it may be possible to get the feed directly from Kin's lavalier mart to your hearing aids. There's a sheet on the paper back, on the desk back there that gives some instructions for
You could spend the night here at my house?
do that, how to configure it. I haven't been able to do it with my hearing aids or my iPhone. So if you're willing to try, we'd love to hear your feedback, and we hope it works. What will happen is that I'll introduce Kin, and she'll get the hour. And so if she finishes early, we'll take questions for a little bit, and if not, we'll go right to 6:05. But then following the talk, there'll be a reception in the conference room, graciously provided by Nancy Beltate and Jean Duval, and we hope you'll stay after. And we hope you'll stay after and talk with other people and maybe ask Kin questions that you have. I helped Kin put together some of the pictures for the
He was
presentation.
dynamite. He was dynamite. Actually, he could actually talk.
And I had to go and get a thumb drive from her. And so I went, and she lives right in the middle of Hancock. And I was driving up there, I went up on 137, and I was reminded of just how beautiful Hancock is. Now, I love all the towns in the Monadnock region, and I must confess that I'm a Jaffrey chauvinist, but we can all agree that Hancock is a really special place. And it seemed fitting that the seat of the Cornucopia Project is right there in the center of Hancock. And I think she's going to tell you that when she started the project, she started it in a place that had ample sunshine and really good soil and a view of the mountain. And from there, this incredible organization has spread like a pumpkin vine throughout the Monadnock region and across the country and overseas. But all the gardeners among us know that for every big green leaf on top of the soil or piece of fruit, there's a network beneath the soil that's really, really important. And Kin's network, I was telling her before we were talking, I've been Kin adjacent I haven't known her well, but I know everyone, so many people know her. And so there's this incredible network of people who know her, who are inspired by her, and who are grateful for the work she's done and is doing in this area. And I think that's why we have a full house tonight, is that network. So I hope you all will join me in giving a warm Civic Center welcome to Kin Schilling.
Wow. Oh my gosh, this is such a treat. And thank you everybody for coming here tonight. It just, I think I'm a wreck, but. I kind of, before I talk about Cornucopia, I'd just like to take a wee story about my growing up in Southborough, Massachusetts. My mom was a good gardener, and my dad had a great sense of humor. Mom had a lovely flower and veggie garden, and Mom loved peonies and had a lovely fenced-in patch of peonies. She also had a great space for green beans in the garden and corn in the garden. My dad decided to put signs around all the areas in the garden. One said, "Don't peonies," on the one fence. The other one said, "Full of beans." And the last one said, "A very corny spot to be." And so that was my mom, and that's was my dad, and I have half and half of each. Well, my mom and dad told me that used to be me as a kid. And I thought, I had blonde hair as a kid. Well, who is that person? My mom said, sweetie, that's you. So I have had this picture since 1947. It's not me. Oh, this is the new sign that goes to the new house that the Cornucopia bought on 202, which is amazing. And I have to keep going. I've lived in Hancock for about 21 years on Norway Hill and had a small garden and sheep and lots of chickens. In 2005, I've been reading about Alice Waters' edible schoolyard, and I became totally immersed in what she was doing, and it was like, we could do that here. We could have gardens here for children and teach children where their food comes from, how to grow and everything like that. So I thought, I'm going to call up Alice Waters and see if I could come out and visit her. Of course she'll say yes. Well, she did. She had a secretary who I actually knew from here, and she asked Alice, and she said, she only has 15 minutes. I was like, okay, all right. And I said, how about sometime next Tuesday? Because I didn't tell her I was flying from Massachusetts, because I didn't want her to know that, or from Boston. Anyway, I went out there and had a wonderful tour of the edible schoolyard, and Alice gave me all sorts of wonderful little tidbits of information for gardening and dealing with children, and then she said, 15 minutes is up. I was like, okay, all right. But she said, Kin, follow your passion, follow your dreams, don't give up, because you will succeed. And this is what has happened today. Don't give up. If you have a dream, follow it, because it always works. Not always. So this is the triangle. I lived on Norway Hill, and on Norway Hill there was this big, beautiful triangle that was absolutely empty. And my neighbor owned it, Bill Bradley owned it. And I went over there one day after really thinking about children and food and everything. I said, Bill, what are you going to do with the triangle? He said, what do you have in mind? I said, I'd like to garden there. He said, it's yours. It's yours. And that was in 2005. And every time I started working in the garden, little kids came and they said, Kin, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, oh, I'm gardening. Do you want to garden with me? And this is a picture of some of the kids before even Cornucopia happened in the garden. And they were always there, and kids came and went, and it was just really, really wonderful. Oh yeah, so this is what I did in the triangle. And the wonderful thing about the triangle is that it had a direct view to Mount Monadnock, which I really felt it was very, very sacred. And the whole triangle was sacred land. And you could grow weeds, but you could grow vegetables much better than weeds, although there were a few weeds. But it was a wonderful spot, and that's where I was thinking about forming an organization. And I was thinking, gosh, I could go down to the Hancock Elementary School and ask them if maybe they'd like to come up and garden. And they said yes. And so we started with the Hancock Elementary School, of the children coming up. Sometimes their parents brought their kids up to garden, and I think you can go to the next one, yeah. And this was the start of the Cornucopia Project. And I didn't have a name yet. I knew that I wanted to be a nonprofit, and I knew that I needed a name. And one day I was sitting in the living room with Eleanor Briggs, and she said, Kin, are you sure you want to do this? I went, I want to do this. She said, what about Cornucopia? I went, that is a brilliant name. How fabulous. It's just a thing that just falls out like, whoop, sorry. And so it became Cornucopia, and it became a 501c3, and it only took 6 weeks to become a 501c3, which is unbelievable in today's world. It was wonderful. And I have to think about what the next picture was. So this is part of the Hancock Elementary School, and Susie Spickle and what's her name? I forgot her name, because sometimes I forget things, came, and they helped out in the garden, and that's where then we started with the kids, and we built raised beds, and all the parents came and built raised beds, and it was the beginning of teaching them where their food comes from and really eating. So this is Hancock Elementary School, and they all came up to, I think it was in celebration of somebody's birthday, because that's a long time ago, 2005, for somebody this old. So, and so sometimes the kids got out of hand, and Jake was this really cheeky little boy. He said, "I don't want to sit with the girls." And I said, "Well, you could sit with the girls and don't look at them." And he goes, "I'm putting my head over this." Do the next. Oh, and some of the mums came along and they go, "Kin, we have gloves. We have gloves for the children so that they can play in the dirt." And it was like, "It's not dirt, it's soil." And they said, and that's one of my bugaboos, don't call garden stuff dirt. So and this is this whole group of kids is trying to find worms. I think they only found 3, so it was a lost thing. These are basically all pictures of these wonderful children that just, this was on a little sideline. This friend called up from New York and said, can you bring the Cornucopia Project down to New York City? And I was like, sure. Sure. So I thought, she said, well, we're just on the other side of Chinatown, and you could come down by the river and then you turn into Chinatown. And I said, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get there yet. And they said, oh, you'll find a way. And so I went to my neighbor, Bud, and I said, Bud, can I borrow your truck? He said, where are you going? I said, New York. He goes, why? I said, well, because I want to bring some wood down and some soil down. He goes, okay. And it was a 1957 Chevy. And Davy Beltate gave us wood or boards to be able to build, sorry, sometimes I still forget things, gardens in this incredible building. So I put the wood in, I got soil. I got soil from Mike Lombard. And so we put it all in the truck kind of went down like that. But then the wood stuck out about that far out of the end. And the only thing I had was a sarong to put on the end of the truck, like this. And as I got going, it was fluttering all behind me. I went, oh, this is going to be great. And so I went all the way. I mean, this truck was wonderful. And I went all the way down to New York. And once I got to Chinatown, there were so many people there, and they were waving and saying hello and everything like this because they saw my license plate that said New Hampshire. And then, of course, the sarong was waving in the breeze until I got to this school, and there were 2 boys there ready to take all of the wood and the soil up to the stairs. Well, the people that I needed to meet was a group of young girls in a science class because they wanted to hear about gardening and what they could do and build these raised beds and then plant the raised beds. So I walked into the science room, and all the girls were sitting there, and they went, "Whoa, you is a white girl." I said, "Yes, I am." And they said, "Are you from Hampshire?" And I went, "Nope, not quite near there." And I said, "I'm from New Hampshire." And they said, "Are you sure it's not Hampshire?" I went, "I'm pretty sure." Anyway, we brought all the wood out and all of the soil out, and they started building these things, and it was amazing. They loved it, and it was phenomenal. And then we seeded it and everything, and that was, I was there for 3 days, and it was really sad to lose these young people that were finally learning about where food comes from, and they were so anxious to have everything grow. And I kept getting these little letters over time that, oh no, the kale grew, and oh no, we have carrots now, and things like that. My heart was so full for these young people because they lived in the city, and it wasn't. Oh yeah. Oh, I know. This is still in the triangle, and Robbie came out and he goes, "Kin, I need to take a shower." I was like, where are you going to take a shower? He said, you don't even have a towel. I said, no, I need to take a shower. I went, okay, go take a shower. And so was his shower, and he came back, and I said, oh, you're all dry. He said, well, the sun is out. So we didn't always have things to measure by, so these are all little spoons or little trowels that are measuring where the potatoes are going to go. And I thought that was very clever of the class. I think this is the 3rd grade in Hancock. And then the kids wanted to learn to draw because they said, because you know how to draw. And I said, I do. And then so we had wonderful little drawing class periodically. I mean, the kids loved it in the garden. I mean, they ached to come to the garden. And there's another one as well, I think. Oh yeah, isn't that Quinn? Yeah. This is in Dublin. This is. The last one was too. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Right. Sorry, I forgot about going to Dublin. But no, I haven't forgotten about going to Dublin because May's here. And some of the kids were really fastidious about what they were doing. They were making growing for peas and everything, and everybody used their imagination because they were allowed to use their imagination. They would say, "Oh, Ken, can we use this? This is going to be like this." It was like, "Give it a jolly good," and it was wonderful. So, what happened in 2010 was the son of the people that gave me the triangle came to me and he said, Ken, I'm going to have you move. And it was like, no. And he said, I'm going to sell the triangle. And I said, you can't sell the triangle, it's sacred. He said, I have to sell the triangle. His name was John. And I said, why? He said, I need the money. So I was thinking, could I buy the triangle maybe? I don't know. I said, how much are you going to how much is the triangle going to cost? He said, $75,000. I said, oh, okay. So he said, you have until the end of August to take everything that you have here and to go somewhere. Well, 3 days after he said that, Dr. Mathewson, who lived on the other side of the hill, came over and he said, Ken, I heard about this. This is terrible. Come to our farm, which is so beautiful. And this is part of Dr. Mathewson's farm. And that became Cornucopia, the second place Cornucopia is. And I mean, it was just wonderful. And I got to bring my sheep, and I got to bring my chickens, and it was really lovely. Kids, I remember him, he goes, I just love it here. There was just such fun. I know. And I said, okay, we're going to plant beans. Can anybody kind of design a new place to plant beans? And I said, something really, really different. See if you can think of something really. And these 2 boys said, what about if you make a mound like this, and then you push your hand down like that, and you go, that's where the water grows, and then you put all your little fingers and make holes, and that's where the beans go. I went, that is so clever. So they did a whole row of that, and we got beans. Right, but you couldn't forget to water the hole, because that was where all the water went. Oh yeah, and then at the farm, there was a wonderful stream. There is a wonderful stream that comes down, and that's all clear water. So the kids would get all the water there, and they could wash their vegetables there, which is really cool. Oh, well, we didn't plant pot. No, you can do it.
Go past it?
Yeah. No, we didn't plant pot. They wanted to, but I said no. So every time, what? Morgan. That's my son. He just came here. Anyway, the kids always had to clean up things and things like that. And so one time I was saying, you guys, you know what? I have this wonderful saying. And they said, what? I said, many hands. And I said, what do you think comes after many hands? And they went, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I know. Many hands make many arms. Which is so true. Oh, and then before we left the triangle, there was time to build the oven, and we did that with rooted in clay, and the kids did an incredible job. And I told them every time they go away, bring back a rock, but you cannot take one from the stone wall, because I'll know when they come from the stone wall. So we built all of this, and then there was a big thing, and then so this was the day that we were going to light it and have pizza, because after that we would have to take it down. So that was really, really fun. Oh, that's my friend May. Cornucopia went, I think we came to you in 2007? Or
6, around here.
Yeah, 2007, and which was wonderful, and all the parents came and made the raised beds, and it was so wonderful, and I got to know May, and and she's the principal of the Dublin school, and every once in a while I would get this just very small idea about something, and I would knock on. Can you stand up? We'll do like a little kind of skit here. So she would be
in my office.
She's in her office. She's the principal of Dublin Elementary.
But I'm also teaching 4th and 5th grade.
Right. She's dynamite. Anyway, I would knock on her door, and she would say, "Come in." And what would you say?
Well, you would say.
I would say, "Oh, I have an idea."
And I'd say,
2 minutes.
"I don't have any time." "I don't have any time, Kin." She would say,
"But only 2 minutes."
"But I have this idea." I said, "Okay, 3 minutes. You have
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
And so I would say something, and you would say, "Listen," and by the time we were all finished,
It was 10.
10 or 15, and she would go, "Boy, that's a great idea. Now get out of here."
And then we would do it.
And then we would do
was.
it.
Yeah.
We would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, Meg. Thanks. I have to think of where I'm going now. Well, by then we were in the Dublin school, and we went to Peterborough with gardens, raised bed gardens. We were in Antrim with raised bed gardens, Bennington, Greenfield, Francistown, Temple, and it was just wonderful. And we were all received in every single school in such a wonderful way. That parents helped to build the raised beds. They helped. They just donated They donated so many things to make everything work in all of the schools. And I would say today, somebody said, I'm waiting for the next half of Cornucopia, because I retired in 2017, and she's coming here to talk about where Cornucopia is today, from 2017 and Cornucopia is now 20 years old and very, very, very successful. I'm sorry. Oh, we're in 15 schools, 1 high school, 3 middle schools, 3 preschools, and 8 elementary schools. And the whole program is so very, very successful. And at one point, we had a group of young people called the ACEs come from Keene, and I think if Sheila could just say they weren't going to college.
Right, they were doing job exploration, and
Yeah.
part of it was spending time learning about gardening and the environment. And so it was a project with Keene State College and Monadnock Developmental Services, and for 5 summers we had the kids spend a weekend with Kin doing gardening.
And it was wonderful, and all these young people were they're so giving and happy to be there, and half the time they slept in tents in the field, and a lot of the children, we would have dinner at night and we would set up a table with chairs, and a lot of the children have said, we've never sat at a table before to have dinner. Where did you have dinner? Oh, I don't know, sometimes we didn't even have dinner. And these kids were absolutely wonderful, and periodically they would come back and say hello, and I think they learned a lot, and of course Sheila is amazing in what she did over the 5 years, so I thank Sheila. The little boy on the left, on the right, Keon, who was just adorable and wonderful, and he came and he came up to me, he said, Kin, what is this? And I said, Keon, what do you think it is? I just don't know. I said, well, did it come from the ground? Yeah. Did you wash it? Yeah. And I said, why don't you take a little bite? And he goes, okay. He took a little bite like this, and I said, Keon, what does it taste like to you? And he went, I think it tastes like a carrot, but it's not a carrot. And I went, well, what do you think it is? He said, it's not a carrot. And I said, well, why do you think it's not a carrot? He said, because it's not this big. And remember all the carrots that you could only get that were only this big? He didn't recognize it. I said, Keon, it is really, really a carrot, that sometimes they used to just cut them all up into little, yeah, right. Oh, he was growing a beard. Right. That's some more kid. I mean, these kids are just so wonderful. Oh, this is, yeah, we had giant, giant sunflowers. It was amazing. And they're getting ready to have a dinner, a harvest dinner. And so the Peterborough, Hancock Elementary School started the first harvest dinner, and Dublin continued it as well. And all the kids did all the work in the kitchen. They made 3 different soups. They made a butternut squash soup, a leek and potato soup, and a kale soup. And where all these vegetables came from was not our gardens. We went down to Josie and Richard Warner, who lived down the road a little bit, and Josie would prepare cookies and cider for the kids, and they would bring home gobs and gobs of, I wish I had the picture where the kid had, stop! The kid had like gobs and gobs of kale, and it was really, and they cooked everything themselves with the moms. The moms made bread for the dinner, and we invited the community to come out. But there was one prerequisite to the community coming in. You couldn't come in and eat dinner with everybody unless you brought a proper spoon, a proper bowl, and a proper napkin, because we didn't want any waste. And to this day, everybody is still bringing a proper spoon, a proper bowl, and a proper napkin, so that we don't use papers or plastic or things like that, which was really good. So, then we took the Cornucopia to the middle school, and I think that was even far back. This is I made this little thing that you could look up and read if you'd like. I know you can't see it from there, but I could hold it up like that or something. Anyway, the kids wanted to do a garden there in the middle school, and I said, why don't you guys design the garden and see how you'd like to have the garden instead of just putting, raised beds here and there. So they said, we'll be right back. I said, okay. So they came back, and one of the girls said, we want it to look like a sunburst, so that all the beds went out like this. And I said, that's so beautiful. Let's do it. So they grew tons and tons of vegetables at the middle school. Oh, that's a picture of one of the hoop houses in Peterborough. Sorry. But then we grew in the greenhouse in the middle school. We grew tons and tons of salad mix, and the kids they had to bring twice a week. They brought salad mix into the kitchen, and the kids devoured it. They ate it, and we had gobs and gobs of salad mix, and it was really wonderful. Where they became, they loved bringing it all to the kitchen so their friends could eat. And I think we did that in Dublin as well. Yeah, it was good. Oh, that's Max. Max now is 21 years old. I know. Peter at Roy's said, Ken, do you think the kids would bring potatoes and we will buy them? And I said, sure. So the kids all went out and picked 2 bushels of potatoes, and now you can do it.
Okay.
Thank you. So we brought the potatoes in, and he bought them. Oh, that's my dog. That's my dog, Griffin. We brought all the potatoes. I think there was 45 pounds of potatoes, and he gave the kids, he said, what do you think about $110? And everybody went, but it went silent, and they said, okay, and he said, and he said, are you going to do anything special with the money that you made? And they all yelled, we're going to take it to the Humane Society and helped animals that are having a hard time, and that's what we did with the money. And that was, and everybody bought those. I think those potatoes were gone in 2 days at Roy's. Oh, this is, okay. Cornucopia went to Crotched Mountain for 4 years, which was really, really an incredible experience with all of these young people. And they loved being in the garden. And of course, we had lots and lots of teachers that really helped. But all of the food that the kids grew went to the cafeteria, which was great. And it was quite a bit of food. And most of the kids that came out to work in the garden were work worthy, but some of them had a lot of trouble. And there was this wonderful little boy, not little, I think he was 14 or 15, Derek, and he loved being in the garden, and he planted like crazy, and he harvested, and Brooke took it to the kitchen. But he had one problem, is that about every 5 minutes he screamed at the top of his lungs. He screamed. And one day I went over and said to him, Derek, why are you screaming? He said, I like to. I said, why do you like it? I like the noise. I said, you know what, Derek? I said, that noise sometimes travels to the soil where the bugs are, and they don't like noise like that. Or the bees, when the bees fly around and you scream, they fly away and you scare them. And sometimes when you scream near all of the vegetables, they don't like it either, and they go like this, and they try to get away. Screaming is really, really hard on many, many things. Do you think maybe you could try very hard not to scream? Okay. I said, I will be so proud and so happy if you can continue doing this. He said, I will. And he did. Which was, I mean, it makes me cry, because some of these kids it was amazing, all of them. Anyway. Oh, that's Kelly Ackerley, and Kelly it lives in Hancock as well, and she wanted to try a sweet 100 tomato, and all the mothers used to come up to me and go, Kin, tomato? And I went, yeah, tomato, don't you think? I said, don't you think that's really a good way of saying tomato? No, I said, tomato means really, really good fruit. Well, tomatoes aren't fruit. Well, maybe you ought to look it up in the dictionary. Anyway, she took half of a sweet 100, and she went, oh, this is pretty good. And I said, well, do you want the other half? And she said, sure. And she ate it, and she goes, this tastes like candy. Anyway, she was 5 years old, and she was in Cornucopia for a long time, and she is now on the board of Cornucopia Project, which is really, really quite wonderful. So the other day, we decided to make soup for the staff. So Kelly and I made soup for the staff, and we made butternut squash soup, and that was just absolutely wonderful, and it was such fun. And I'm kind of waiting for Olivia, who is she's the education director, and she somehow got stuck in a snowbank. And she also got the Trendsetter Award from the Keene Sentinel for being an incredible teacher. But I don't think she...
I'm here, Ken.
Oh my God! Then come up here. You made it, yay! Yay! She's going to tell a little bit about yay, I'm so glad, I'm so glad. About now where Cornucopia is today, because it's amazing. It's just, and she is a big, big part of what Cornucopia is today, and I'm so grateful you made it.
I am so grateful, too, to be here. Oh,
You can
what a harrowing few hours. Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Clark. I'm the Education Director with the Cornucopia Project. I have been with them for 6 to 7 years. I started working 5 hours a week in the gardens with our executive director, who is Lauren Judd. She was the garden educator at the time, and
Yeah.
I think you worked with her too.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, it was fun.
It was very fun. So I went to school for sustainable ag, and then I got my master's in education, and I was like, how do I combine these two things? How do I, like, there's nothing in this world that combines these two passions of mine. And I went to get ice cream on a really warm day in Peterborough, and Lauren Judd and her family was there, and we started talking, and she was like, I work for this amazing place called the Cornucopia Project, and I was like, tell me more. And come to find out, they were looking for somebody, and she said, go get experience teaching, and I did, and I've been here ever since.
Yep,
And the funny part about the story is I never actually got to work with Kin.
I know.
We
But-
never
But
overlapped.
except for when we had the salsa thing,
Yes.
which I want to talk about.
Yes.
I would talk about, what was his name? Oh, yeah.
Roni.
Yeah, Roni, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
yeah.
I came on in 2020. Kin retired in 2017. Since then, we have created, so she said there are 15 schools involved in the Cornucopia Project, which is wild. I teach at 11 schools a week, and it's a lot, but it's the best thing ever. So we have our cooking club, our after-school cooking clubs. We have our school garden program, which is the one that Kin started. That's where it all started. We also have a summer program that we run on our educational farm that is home to high school students that can get extended learning opportunity credits, and we also pay them to work on the farm. We have CSAs. Does
Yep.
everyone know what a CSA is?
Yep.
Oh, that is wonderful. So the kids grow food for the CSA on the farm.
Which is great.
It is really wonderful.
And then you have contests, contests,
Yes.
like the salsa contest. I mean, oh my God, these kids go out into the garden and they get everything that there is to put into a salsa, and they make these salsas, and they rock. I mean, they're wonderful. I mean, they're absolutely delicious. But there was, I have to just tell about this one boy who I think was Bruni is 11.
Brony was, yes,
Yeah,
at the time he was
11 years old,
Mhm.
and he'd made a really delicious salsa. But he came up to me and he goes, Can I ask you a question? I said, Brony, of course you can. He said, you know what? Somebody told me that you like to hug. There's a story. And I said, well, yes, I do like to hug. He said, and I like to hug as well. And I said, well, what do you think? Do you think we should hug? Yeah, we should hug. And he was wonderful. So, and he was getting everything done and every once in a while he'd sneak over and go like that. It was so funny. And then when we left, I walked down to where the cars come in and everything. I walked down with him, and he said, I think that I had the best time hugging ever. And it did bring tears to my eyes. I said, Brony, I did as well. He said, bye. So things happen like that all around the Cornucopia Project and schools, and you fall in love with these kids because they're amazing and they're our future. And I feel so fortunate. But I'd like to just read this little thing that I wrote, I think, in 2010. Do you need to say any more? Would you like to? I'm sorry.
I think I'm good. Okay. Yeah, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted them to meet you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The rewards of a garden reaches into every aspect of a child's life, and not the least of these rewards are physical and mental well-being that comes into harmony with nature. Gardens connect children to the source of their food, aesthetics of flowers. Gardens strengthen our land, our local food systems. Gardens would build teamwork. For children who may struggle, it may open doors to a new and creative way of learning. Gardens also develop environmental responsibilities and awaken the senses, promote good health, and build many lasting community bonds. And I remember this all the time of community. When I went to Colorado, which I loved in so many ways, but I came back to community, and this is my community, this is your community. And I have one other thing that I wish I wrote. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that has, and that was Margaret Mead. And thank you all so much for coming, and I feel so lucky to have so many friends that I adore and love and see, and I'm very, very fortunate, and thank you so much. Oh, I was going to ask, is there anybody in the room who may have had children or grandchildren in Cornucopia? Maybe not. And I was petrified to talk, but I'm not anymore. Thank you.
It's wonderful. I told you. So if you have time for a couple questions, but you just have to.
Oh yeah, you can
gotta
ask me
repeat
any
the
question you want,
gotta
except for how old I am.
Yes.
That's all. No, you can't ask
When
me.
they ask the question, you got to repeat it so that it goes on to the.
Oh,
If we're
okay.
recording this, it'll be available in about a week. All of our talks are recorded, so you just have to, after someone asks a question, try to repeat the question.
Okay,
Anybody have a question?
good.
Oh, wow. Oh, there we go. We have a question.
Kin, what is your favorite food to grow with the kids?
To grow
With the kids.
with the kids. Well, it's funny, kale and broccoli. I am amazed at how many children love broccoli. Raw broccoli, cooked broccoli. That was an eye-opener for me in the garden. I think that, and tomatoes. Oh, I have to tell you one other story. Oh, do I have time?
Yeah.
Okay. I never wear matching socks, and that's just a secret. But the kids all said, I want to wear non-matching socks. I said, okay, just when you go into your sock store, you take one out that doesn't match the other one. And so all the kids started wearing unmatching socks, and the moms would come up to me and go, not matching socks? I went, of course not matching socks. It's so simple. Why non-matching socks? Because you get to think outside the socks. That's all. Anyway, thank you. Oh, May.
I want you to talk about odd numbers, and I want you to talk about Spud.
About what?
Spud.
Spuds?
You remember Spud?
Oh, Spud.
You remember who Spud is?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that's all right. Well, just for everybody else, there was a girl in Dublin, a young girl in Dublin, and the kids were digging potatoes, and she dug a potato.
Oh, yes. Right. That was like, yeah.
Huge.
It was like 3 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kim named her Spud and called her Spud all the way through till she graduated from high school.
I remember that now. Wow, is she still Spud?
I assume
I would think so. Oh my God, what a great name, Spud. Wow. It's only a 4-letter word, although I like odd numbers. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. It makes my heart so full, and I love every single one of you. And thank you. Oh, I forgot this. Hi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and we have a small token of
Thank you.
our
Wow.
appreciation
Wow.
for coming. I'll put it right there.
And thanks for the wood.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a long time coming.
And you know what? I found this the other day. The Cornucopia Project. Lauren and I were on the cover of the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation letter, which is pretty cool. And and they're hugging. I mean, how could we be more perfect? Sorry.
I have to say, in my day job, for those of you who don't know me, my name's David Beltate. I'm president of the Jaffrey Civic Center, but I do have a day job, and that's with the lumber company hardware store. And for years, for 25 years, I was working in Peterborough.
Right.
And Kin was a regular customer. And I have to say, she really knows how to delight my help.
What do you mean by that?
Well, no, you're just a joy to wait on in the store.
I know. It was always fun to come and talk to
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
because I still talk to everybody.
Yeah, that's a wonderful trait.
Thank
That's
you.
Really nice.
Thank you.
I do have a couple of official duties. I just want to point out to everyone, please join us for the reception afterwards. And I want to thank my wife, Jean Duval, for putting
yes.
it all together and
you.
organizing this thing. I want to thank Sean, the MC, and Megan, the audiovisual
Yes,
producer.
thank you.
She's wonderful. And if I want to also point out Howard Mansfield, who is in the audience, is speaking in our next month's episode. And join us tomorrow from 5 to 7 for 3 openings. We have the opening upstairs for the New England Center for Photography. In our display cases out here, we have treasures from the Jaffrey Historical Society. And in this auditorium, we have an artist member show going on.
Wow,
And so
that's
feel
great.
free to mill around the building if you wish while you're here. I can't think of anything else. Am I missing anything? Oh, I want to thank Laura and Karen. They're probably back in the office for all that they do. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
So glad you came.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.